Good afternoon. Welcome to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. I'm Craig Mitch along with George Kurtz. It is time for the next round of the fantasy football playoffs in the NFL playoffs. Great to be with you here for another edition of the show. 60 minutes as we get into it. George is with me, of course, as always. Our producer, Sam, is driving our ship, so to speak here, George. We're down to the point where things certainly get a little heated, I think, in the NFL. Like, I don't know which way these games are going to go. I was disappointed a little bit last week. Obviously, my two Super Bowl teams were knocked out, Jacksonville, Green Bay. So I'm now going to have to pick another Super Bowl winner. We're all doing a postseason fantasy league, which is actually pretty cool. A little one and done. Got to make some big decisions as well this week. And so, I don't know, George, are we headed toward an AFC championship with the Houston Texans and Denver Broncos? Really? Is that where we're headed? I mean, it could be. This could be a crazy weekend.
This used to be my favorite NFL weekend of the year, Craig. Back probably when there were two buys for each league, because then you had the four best teams theoretically playing here. Now it's hard to beat Wild Card Weekend. I mean, I know the last two games were done.
Yep.
All right, the last two games, let's face it. The Texans annihilated Pittsburgh. New England took care of the Chargers there. But the first four games were like, wow,
crazy.
All right,
Yep.
Complete theater, a lot of entertainment here, and we want some good games this weekend. Could it be Houston, Denver? I mean, if Nico Collins is not going to play, boy, I'm going to have a tough time seeing Houston. How can the Divas not going to get two scores again, right? That's what they did against Pittsburgh. I don't know if that's going to happen there. And I know everybody keeps saying this, and I'll harp on it as well. If not this year for Josh Allen, when? All right, I know you don't have the home games here, but there's no Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson. All these guys got eliminated here. This has to be your year. Has to be your year. You were fantastic last week. Let's see if you can do it again.
Let's get to our top stories. A lot of coaching news in the NFL. Half the league is looking for a new coach, almost a third of the league, actually. It's crazy. It looks like Jim Harbaugh's going to the Giants, still working out some contract stuff, John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh was arguably one of the best coaches in Ravens history. They dismissed him, believe it or not, early last week, and so he was looking for a new job for about 48 hours. He picked the Giants. I guess they literally didn't let him out of the restaurant or the building. John Harbaugh picks the Giants. So that's the big story from coaching in the NFL. Still got a ton of openings. Also, George, when we last spoke, the Pittsburgh Steelers were getting ready to play I would say probably the biggest game of their season. Yeah, right, against Houston. And they played maybe their worst offensive game of the season. Mike Tomlin apparently told some players, this is going to be my last game coaching the team. I wish we would have known that. They lost the game. Tomlin then resigned and apparently doesn't want to coach next season. So after 19 years, no more Tomlin. In the NFL playoffs this week, Sam Darnold is on the injury report with some sort of oblique issue, but if you look at the point spread, it's still exactly the same. So I don't even know what this is about. And then Adam Thielen, once upon a time, second-round pick, once upon a time in fantasy football, he decided to retire after that game with Pittsburgh. So we can go a number of different directions here. I guess let's start with the coaching, George. A lot of folks are wondering, why haven't more coaches been hired to this point? And then I have to remind people and point out, well, that's because Houston is still playing, and New England is still playing, and Buffalo is still playing, and Seattle and San Francisco. Like, there's going to be a lot of coaches that those teams want to interview as well. I have a feeling that next week we're going to get some serious coaching hires across the land.
Yeah, I agreed with you, right? We heard last night that Robert Saleh interviewed with the Miami Dolphins. So, stuff like that is still happening here for the teams that are still playing. 8 teams are still playing. So a quarter of the league is still playing. And let's face it, those guys are winning. Right, so you want the winning coaches to maybe be the next head coach of your team, or coordinators for that matter. We're waiting for those as well here. So Mike Tomlin, I'll miss Mike Tomlin. I love those press conferences. There's very few guys, Craig, that I'll listen to a press conference that I care about. It's all blah blah blah. They don't tell you anything. But Tomlin, just for the quotes, right? The one-liners he put out there for fantastic. And I would be interested to see what pregame show he ends up with. Whether it's Fox, CBS, ESPN, whoever it might be, as that looks like the direction he might go. We have to remember, all right, Tomlin is not Harbaugh. Even if he did want to coach this year, the Steelers hold his rights. All right, so that's going to cost the team. Sean Payton went for a first and second to go to Denver here. I would think Tomlin's going for at least that. And the Steelers did say they would want compensation to release him. So, it's not like he can just go to another team if he wanted to here. So we'll see where Tomlin ends up. But I will miss Mike Tomlin. All right, I think he's a very good coach, by the way. And I think, Craig, Steeler fans a year from now are going to be like, Mike, you want to come back, please? Come back?
Could be.
Listen, he did a lot with very little. A lot.
I would be shocked if they didn't hire some offensive guru. I mean, to me, that's the direction that Pittsburgh
They
needs to
never
go.
have.
They
History
had
is
Bruce
young
Arians
defensive
as his
player.
assistant, and that's the kind of guy I think they need. They had Ben Roth. I mean, people forget the Steelers used to average 30 points a game for about 6 years with Ben Roethlisberger. Like that was not that long ago. Like they need to get back to that. This is a scoring league. You can win on defense if you are Houston. That has been proven. But any other team in the NFL, you can win some and you can lose some. It's not going to be enough to go far. Speaking of which, are you surprised that Harbaugh picked the Giants? I am a little bit. I understand that the roster that is there is an upgrade over probably half the teams that he would start off with. But I'm a little surprised, George. I definitely thought he would do the Harbaugh tour and at least speak to Miami and visit Tennessee, and he just chose not to. And I know the money is probably the reason why. There's just so much money involved. Where's he going to get that kind of dough from anyone else? But look, it's great for the Giants, and they do have some players, but I'm not like automatically sold that their roster is that good. I can't. I mean, if they were that good, why were they so bad this year?
He has cornerstone players with the Giants. I'm not surprised he went there. The Giants, I know we make fun of them. They've been terrible for a long time, but they are a cornerstone franchise with the Maras, right? So I think I understand that. They're not going to interfere with him. He's not got to worry about that. He doesn't have a meddling owner. Not going to have Jerry Jones. Not going to have anybody else. He's going to be able to do his job and do it the way he wants. He had all the cachet in the world to get there. When you look at the roster, all right, you got a quarterback in Jackson Dart. Listen, he's not Josh Allen, but he's a quarterback. Do I have my doubts that he's ever going to play a full season? Yeah. I think I have to temper down his style of play, or else his overrun is going to be 12 and a half games every year because he's having concussion syndrome all the time here. You got a running back in Scatterbo who his style of play is fun, probably a shorter career because he lives for contact, and that's really not good. We'll see what he's coming back from injury here. Malik Neighbors coming back from the ACL. If he comes back fine, Greg, you're talking a top 10 wide receiver at worst. All right, so you've got cornerstone players. The defensive line is outstanding as far as the pass rush is concerned. Not too good against the run. Going to have to work on that. But you have cornerstones there, right? So I can see where he's going with this. And let's face it, the division is kind of a mess, right? The Commanders get rid of both coordinators there. We'll see what becomes of them. The Cowboys with Jerry Jones, we know they're a storyline, but that's about it year in, year out. There's no consistency there. And even the Eagles. Right, Sirianni's got problems. You fire the offensive coordinator. A.J. Brown's a headache, so they have problems as well. He may be looking at that as well, also here. But I might be a little surprised. Like I kind of assume the Giants would screw it up because they've screwed everything up, But if not the Giants, who? I don't think he wants to deal with Ross in Miami, and you don't have a quarterback. I thought Tennessee would have a better shot. Because once again, you've got if you believe in Cam Ward, you've got the quarterback, and you build around that. Although once again, there's not much else there besides Cam Ward. So I thought Tennessee might have had the next best shot.
There's so many openings. You haven't even said Arizona. Like they need a coach. The Raiders need a coach. Cleveland needs a coach. It's just there's so many out there that it's so hard to keep up with all of the different openings. But I'm guessing that the best coaches go to the best openings. So Harbaugh picked the Giants, and then there'll be some trickle down. But like these names that are being interviewed, like honestly, I haven't even heard a lot of these names. The Miami is interviewed like 3 guys I've never even heard of. So we'll see if this is a direction that teams choose to go. But again, for those of you longing for your team to hire a next head coach, it'll happen next week. I mean, once you see half of this playoff field get knocked out, all of a sudden things start opening up a little bit more. All right, coming up next, we'll play a little daily fantasy, see if we can pick a good lineup for you this week, and we'll visit DraftKings and check out some of the pricing. So you're watching Fantasy Sports today here on SportsGrid as we have the next round of the NFL playoffs coming up. The fantasy show rolls on. We'll even get ready for a little baseball season, which is coming up too next month. FST here on SportsGrid. Back with more right after this.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for, defecting. And I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Daboll. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Does this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Building your lineup in daily fantasy, going for $1 million. That's what George and I are going to help you do this week. So naturally, if you win, we'll send you out some Venmo information. You could just send us over something if you wouldn't mind. All right, let's get started. Take a look at the wide receiver pricing. We'll start off with Puka Nacua, the biggest mystery to me in all of fantasy sports here, George. Why is he a mystery? Why don't they stop this guy? I don't understand. I cannot comprehend. Is he Jerry Rice? Is he the best receiver in the NFL? Will they never put two guys on this guy? He's the only reason why the Rams win. I don't understand it. 9,000 for him. He'll probably score 3 touchdowns this week. Jackson Smith-Njigba, 8,500. Nico Collins is priced at 7, but he may miss this week with a concussion, so don't play him. Devontae Adams, 6,500. Cortland Sutton of Denver, 5,900. Stephon Diggs, 58. Jawan Jennings, 54. Rome Odunze, 53. DJ Moore, 52. Khalil Shakir, 5,100. Those are the prices of the top tier wide receivers in daily fantasy this week, George. But look, everyone's going to buy Nacua again. And yeah, they probably should. But from an NFL coverage perspective, George, I just don't understand this one. I don't. Like this guy is playing better than Randy Moss. Like, I don't get it, why they can't cover him. I don't understand.
I think Devontae Adams there, good running game. I agree with you. All right, I'm double covering Nacua, and someone else has to beat me. That being said, I don't think this is going to be the game for any of your pass catchers. All right, latest weather reports there are it's going to start off at about 18 degrees, and the real with the wind over 10 miles an hour here, the wind chill is going to be around 6 degrees. All right, that's cold, folks. I don't care what they want to say. That's damn cold. It also means the ball is a brick. All right, it's not easy to grip. It is slick. I don't see the passing game working. That's not to say Nacua can't catch a short pass and break one. Of course, that could happen here. But I'm not going to spend $9,000. I'll take JSN easily. I'll save the $500 and he'll be my top wide receiver in this game. I'm going to stay away from the Rams and Bears pass catchers, which is a shame because I think under any kind of okay weather, I'd be loading up on this game. Loading up both sides here as far as the pass game is concerned because we're not touching Denver and we're not touching New England and Houston, right? Two good defenses. We don't expect much there. Even Buffalo against Denver is a little tough here as far as the pass catchers here. Buffalo doesn't have anybody we like anyway, so it really limits what we can do here. But I'm not going with Nacua this week. 8,500, I'll take JSN all day long against that San Fran defense.
You said that it's called the ball is what? You said exactly?
It's a brick. It's like throwing a brick.
I thought you said something else. I didn't know if that was safe for television broadcasting. A brick. Okay, got that. I thought you said something else.
They do that in Buffalo.
Let's go to the lesser guys. Now, you got to have to pick somebody from this in order to roster a team this week. So, Troy Franklin, 4,900. Ricky Pearsall, you got to be brave to play him. He hasn't played much at all this year. Luther Burden, 4,700. This is one that's going to be heavily used. I don't think you can use Jaden Higgins, George, because everyone's going to be rostering him this week if Nico is out. Demarcus Robinson coming off a huge week, 4,400. Kayshon Boutte, 4,300. Rashid Shaheed also coming off a monster week at 4,200. Kirk, again, wow. A lot of the low-priced guys here, George, are coming off great weeks. That's what I assume here. Shaheed, Robinson. This could be a big week for them again. Brandon Cooks didn't realize he was still playing, by the way. It was involved in the game plan last week. And Pat Bryant, you're not playing him at 3,900. So, could you make the case for any of these wide receivers this week? Would you play Shakir coming off? You mentioned Shakir at 5,100. Do you think Robinson busts out again at 4,400? Is Higgins a play, or are you just going to be the same way as everybody else? I think in order to win the $1 million, you can't play any of the ones that I mentioned. You really have to dive deeper.
You're probably right. What are the odds of Robinson or Kirk having that big game again? Right? I mean, what are the odds? And everybody's going to be on it anyway. All right, because Kirk had 132 yards, whatever it was last week. He was monstrous. We don't expect Collins to play as of right now. Right? He hasn't practiced yet. Still in concussion protocol. Generally, you have to get in a limited practice before you're going to be able to go there. So we'll see how that works out. I am the first to admit that it's amazing how much faster concussions heal during the playoffs than they do during the regular season. It's just funny how that works. I guess the colder weather heals concussions. So we'll see there, but I don't expect him to go there. So Kirk is certainly on my mind, but I think everyone's going to have him. But 4,100 might be tough to pass up here. I would look at Shaheed, who didn't play last week, right? Seattle had the bye. We do expect points to be scored against Seattle, although the Sam Darnold thing is fun, right? I think he's going to play. I think that's all. Just nothing to really worry about. But it does worry me somewhat. And Shaheed's not a volume guy. Craig, if we're playing Shaheed, we're gonna need that break. Either the bomb or he breaks a tackle and he's gone. He's not going to catch 7 passes for 112 yards. Not what he does. So there is some risk involved there. But hey, if you want to win this, generally you do need to take that risk. I would probably lean towards Shaheed.
Running backs, Christian McCaffrey with another big game last week. He leads the pack at 8,800. James Cook, a quiet week last week at 7,300. Kyron Williams scored 6,600. RJ Harvey with his first playoff shot this week, 62. Swift at 6. Woody Marks, 5,900. Ramondre Stevenson, 5,800. George, I like some names better on our second list, which we're going to show you as opposed to this one. I think there's some value to be had.
We'll certainly look at RJ Harvey here. Buffalo can't stop the run. He's something I'm going to look at here. Kenneth Walker, by the way. I think Seattle's going to, once again, Sam Darnold's not losing it for us, so they're going to run the ball. Kenneth Walker, I kind of like as well.
So there is a pricing for the second tier. There's Henderson at 5,700, Walker 5,500. I kind of like Charbonnet at 5,300 and Monangai at 5,000, and then you see Nick Chubb there 4,900, and then Brian Robinson at running back 4,800. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the tight ends. We'll start off with Colston Loveland of the Bears, 5,500. Nobody overly priced this week. Hunter Henry, 4,500. Kincaid, 43. Schultz, 42. Parkinson, 37. Evan Engram at 35. Why do I like somebody even more that's not on this list, George? How about Jake Tongas on San Francisco? Doesn't this guy bust out?
That's who I'm going with as
week?
well. That's who I'm going with. Yeah. Go with the cheapest guy you can live with. No tight end should really set out this week. I like Tongas as well for the reason you mentioned. Save a lot of money there.
Yeah, under 3,500. And George Kittle, by the way, out for the season. So there is no competition whatsoever in San Francisco. And every time that Kittle has missed time, Tongas has been really good. So that's another direction that you could go. Real quick, you want to pick a quarterback here before we drop off here?
Darnold or Nix? I'm going to say that if I like what I hear about Darnold, I'm going with him. If not, I'll take Bo Nix against that Buffalo defense. 5,800
for Nix, 5,400 for Sam Darnold. We'll take a quick break. The baseball offseason hit its crescendo in the last 24 hours. We'll tell you what happened next.
they outlined for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Dable. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Does this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
And welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. A month from now, George and I will be drafting some teams in fantasy baseball. Yeah, I know some of you may be doing it already now, and I know George, I think, has run through a couple of drafts. Me, I wait till usually the end of football season, and now that we're getting some clarity on some of these players, at least some of it becomes a little bit easier. So let's get the update here, George. Last 24 hours, two of the big free agents off the board. Kyle Tucker, in what has to be considered a massive surprise, ends up signing a 4-year deal, and he is going to the Los Angeles Dodgers to join that all-star lineup that includes Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez, Max Muncy. I mean, just really an incredible lineup with great pitching. I personally hate the idea of all of this, but seems like I'm one of the people on an island here. I really want things to get fixed, and I can't stand the fact that you could just spend $700 million and nobody cares, but look, the Dodgers are playing within the rules, I guess, right now. And so as long as they're playing within the rules that they currently state, then the Dodgers can just keep doing this. But I would assure you that I think that this is all coming to an end soon.
Well, it's certainly going to be changed somewhat here. We'll see how that works out. Yes, there is deferred money involved in there as well. Not what the amount we've seen with Ohtani or someone like that. But, I mean, listen. I wasn't surprised Tucker went there. The Dodgers were a third favorite to land him behind the Jays and the Mets there. So I didn't think it would happen. All right, I thought he would go to the Mets or the Jays. He did turn down more money, not on an average annual value. That was the game he was playing there. He got 240 from the Dodgers. The Jays probably offered somewhere around 400. So he'll be 29 years old tomorrow, I believe, the 17th. So time the contract ends is 33. Will he make 140 million from 33 on? Probably not. So, Craig, in the end, he actually turned down money. He's probably going to lose out on this unless he's going to get a $150 million contract when he turns 33. That being said, there are also some opt-outs here. So maybe that's the plan. Yeah, that's how he'll make up the money in a couple of years. We'll see how that works out. Or maybe he just wants to win. Go to the Dodgers there. You're not the main guy, right? You don't have to worry about that kind of pressure there. It's California, the nice weather. So maybe that's what he wanted to do. And let's face it, he's never going to spend it all anyway. So it is what it is here. Everyone hates the Dodgers here. I can go on a tangent here. Is it annoying? Sure. That the Yankees could have done this. Philadelphia could have done this. Boston, the Mets, you go on and on. Toronto, they didn't. So a lot of it's sour grapes. And if we're fans of those teams, we wish our team would have done this. And we didn't. So now we're complaining about it because the Dodgers did. All right. So this just comes down to Some owners want to spend money and win. Some owners want to make as much money as possible. And I think that's a problem as well here. Do I think the system needs to be changed? Sure. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, George, I understand what you're saying, but you cannot compare the revenue that the Dodgers make to the bottom 10 teams in baseball. I mean, the Dodgers are making so much more money than those teams in every single way, from attendance to TV revenue to everything. I think it's an apples and oranges conversation. And I personally, look, I have a lot of opinions on this. Maybe I'll save it for the end. But again, I understand currently the Dodgers are playing within the rules, and that's all. But here's what I believe is that if there was a salary cap and a salary floor, I don't know without a doubt that Kyle Tucker wouldn't have signed with the Dodgers here, George. But what I do know is he would have signed the first day of free agency as opposed to 3 months later. And that's the first fix that baseball has to have, is that, I mean, he sat out there forever, and then the Dodgers just kind of came in the end and said, if you don't like anything, take it. That's not going to happen in the salary cap era if it ends up happening. So to me, I'm just, again, sorry, I am disgusted with the whole thing. I want the system changed. Bo Bichette, he signs another mega deal, and he gets one, and he's headed to the New York Mets. To me, George, I don't get this one at all. Definitely a swift pivot for New York. Very disjointed offseason. Look, he's going to help them. He's a really good player. It seems to me they needed pitchers. They needed a lot more than him. It seems like they were in on Tucker. They let Pete Alonso go. They traded Nimmo. I can't figure out what the Mets are doing, but hopefully for them it works.
You and I are in lock, stock, and barrel here. I don't get this at all. All right. Didn't David Stearns tell us that they cared about defense? That's what this offseason was going to be about? So you get rid of Alonso, who granted was terrible defensively. You put in Polanco, who's played one career game at first base and was a DH for a reason, because you can't play defense. Bichette is a terrible defender. Right? There's a reason. Toronto wanted to move him off shortstop, and that was on turf. Right, now he's going to be third base on grass. Good luck to you. All right, and where's Beatty going? All right, is he going to first? I mean, it's just a mess here. And don't the Mets, by the way, have 17 middle infielders? Isn't that the strength of their minor leagues, all these infielders? And you're right. Who's going to pitch? I mean, I don't think the Mets have had a disjointed offseason here. Bellinger would have made a better fit for them. Right?
I agree.
They need outfielders. All right.
I thought that's where he would have ended up. They have Marcus Semien too. I mean, I don't know. All right, we'll be back with more football discussion next.
The outline for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Dable. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Is this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Fantasy Sports Today here on SportsGrid. Our show rolls on all throughout the NFL playoffs because we got to pick some games for you this week and tell you what we think is going to happen and some of the fantasy ramifications from it. Fortunately, my Jaguars are out. This was my big loss this week, losing Jacksonville. So I'm going to have to pick somebody else. Will I take one of these two? Denver and Buffalo, George. So I've been talking about this on my show Newswire all week long. On Monday, the Buffalo Bills were 1.5-point favorites, and I reminded everybody that they were 1.5-point favorites last week, and the Jacksonville Jaguars became favorites at kickoff. And you know what I said, George? This week, that's not going to happen. I was wrong. Again, the line is flipped. Denver's a favorite. Do they move on this week at home against Buffalo? I think the world's probably rooting for Josh Allen. I can't believe they've made the Bills a dog. I just thought all the money would come in on them.
I kind of agree with you. I'm a little surprised this thing flipped. I would have thought more money would come in on Buffalo. But there's a lot of Denver people out there. Listen, having the bye week is certainly beneficial, right? You get the heel up there. I do wonder if they'll start off a little slowly, because they haven't played in a couple of weeks. We'll see how that works out. It just comes down to Bo Nix. I mentioned him in our, the DraftKings segment about starting him. Are we going to get the good Bo Nix or the bad Bo Nix? I just don't know. I probably trust R.J. Harvey in the running game more. You can run on Buffalo there, so we'll see how that works out. But it'll come down to, can Buffalo move the ball against that Denver defense? I know they destroyed them last year in the playoffs there, so that's certainly beneficial to them. We'll see. But I'm like everybody else. I guess I'm rooting for Josh Allen that this could be the year here.
Me too.
So I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it'll be a closer game here. But to me, it's all about Bo Nix. What Bo Nix are we getting here? If Sean Payton can rein him in, I don't think he needs to be great. Just can't be poor. I think there's a damn good chance they move on here. Buffalo's just too banged up a team.
Yeah, I kind of like the Bills, but I the problem with this is that I just don't see the Bills winning the Super Bowl. I don't think they're that good, and that's why I took Jacksonville last week. So I think that I'm with you, George, on this. I think the Bills win, and I think it comes to an end after this week. I don't think they're going, and I don't think they're winning, even with the best player on the planet, which is really a shame. All right, so now let's get to a game where I think, another upset could potentially happen here. 49ers and Seattle Seahawks. Seattle deservingly getting that first bye. There was a report this week that said that Sam Darnold was questionable with an oblique issue. But if that's the case, why is the line still 7? That tells you this is probably much ado about nothing. George, Seattle's got a tremendous home field advantage, but the matchup for them is not great. This is a 49ers team that's very boomer bustish. They've had a couple of seasons within one, injuries. They went on that incredible run. They looked awful against Seattle a couple of weeks ago. They came back and looked good against Philadelphia. Really hard team to predict, but are we all getting suckered into taking these 7 points? It feels like it's too many, but what am I missing here?
Kyle Shanahan has done a fantastic job at coaching this year. This is ridiculous, man. Every week, we're going to take this player away, this player away. Nope. And now you lose George Kittle. Werner's not coming back this week, right? They did activate his practice window, but he's not ready. Maybe next week if they can win here. You have no pass rush here. Once again, everything I said about Bo Nix sort of applies to Sam Darnold. I'm sort of like you. I'm not really worried about the oblique. All right. I think that's much ado about nothing. He felt something, big deal, and he'll be fine. They'll shoot him up if they have to anyway. I think they just know if Sam Darnold doesn't lose it for you, you win the game. If Sam Darnold plays average, you win the game. He plays well, you blow him out. I think it's that kind of a game here. The only way they lose is Sam Darnold plays below average or poorly. They're at least as good a team. San Fran's undermanned. If they were at full strength, Craig, I'd be all over San Fran. Yep, this is going to happen. But they're not. They've done this great job. I don't know how they only beat Philadelphia because A.J. Brown's dropping passes, Devonta Smith's dropping passes, and their offense is just boring. That sort of thing. So I think it comes to an end this week. I think Darnold will be fine.
That's true, but no matter what would have happened last week, with all of that being said, George, they would have covered that spread. So that's the indication to me is maybe the way that this turns out is Seattle wins and San Francisco covers. I sort of think that is the play.
I don't think it's a high-scoring game either. I think, remember the last time they played?
23, 17, 18, something along those lines.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. But I think,
it.
and again, the game could be 23-12 with 4 minutes to go, and San Francisco scores, they get the back door. All right, tough one to call for me, but I'm going to take Houston. I saw enough of Monday night to scare the bleep out of me. I mean, 2 defensive touchdowns in a playoff game. I mean, Houston is just unstoppable on defense. I'm scared, George. Houston's going to be in the Super Bowl. They play a New England team this week that's had a fantastic year. They deserve all the credit for getting as far as they have. But does it come to an end this week against Houston? I mean, their offense is awful. Houston also.
I was all prepared to take Houston until about, 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago, when Nico Collins officially ruled out here. I mean, Craig, the defense is great. All right. It's the best defense in the NFL. We know that. Are they really going to score 2 touchdowns again? All right. Really? I mean, no matter what we think about New England's offense, it's better than Pittsburgh's. All right. Drake May is an MVP. Consider it.
That's
right?
That's
I know
fine.
they don't have anything else. And Diggs, and the run game's good. Could keep them honest here. I think this is a boring game. That's sort of a thing here. Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes. But like I said, I would have taken Houston. I was right there with you until Nico Collins is out. Now I'm going New England here. I think, like I said, it can be a boring, dull game here. Not a game where you're going to go prop crazy. All right. Sort of like we saw last Sunday night and last Monday night. That kind of game here. Give me the Patriots. I don't feel great about it, but I'll take the Pats.
So the odds makers have told us this is going to be the most exciting game of the week. And if you noticed, George, last Sunday, after the games ended and they showed and tweeted out the NFL schedule without the times, they had this game, Rams-Bears, listed first before Houston/Pittsburgh at New England, because I think they thought Pittsburgh would win, and then they would make that Pittsburgh-New England game at night. So now this becomes the better game of the two. It's a high total. I have no read on this game whatsoever. The Bears are playing with house money every week. They come back and win. I don't know how they do it. The Rams are vastly overrated. They can't kick a field goal. They get their field goals blocked, their punts blocked. Teams are running things back for a touchdown. To me, the last few weeks have not shown the Rams being good. It's shown that they've been very lucky, but the Bears have been luckier. I have no idea. Literally no idea. I could see the Rams winning 41-10. I could see the Rams being up 21-0 and the Bears coming all the way back and winning too. I got no feel.
Kind of agree with a lot of that, by the way. I just don't think we're going to get the game that people think we're going to get because of the weather. Like 6 degrees is brutal. It's just brutal. All right. I don't care what anybody says. You'll be those idiots that go out there without their shirts on. You're out of your mind. All right. Who cares? I think it's going to be a game where it's going to be tough to throw the football. At least throw it consistently. I can't say this enough. That ball is a brick. All right, in the cold weather, it's tough to grip, tough to throw, especially if you throw it deeper down the field here. And hasten, we don't call Chicago the Windy City for nothing. Another reason, tough to throw. So I think it's going to be a running battle here. So I'm going to be very interested in Williams, Corum, DeAndre Swift and company there. I think Caleb is going to have to run the ball as well. So I'm going to like his prop. We know Stafford does not run. I think I said last week he's the only quarterback with a certain amount of whatever that has not run for a first down this year. How's that possible, by the way? You didn't even push once or sneak it? Amazing. He has not run for a first down this year. So I'm going to go with the Rams. I think they're the better overall team. I wish this game was going to be played in, I guess a more neutral field. I think there would be points put up on the board. But I'll go with the Rams here. But that weather is going to be an equalizer.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree on that. I think a lot of points are coming. It's a Sunday night game. I don't think the NFL would put this game without knowing that could potentially come. So I got no feel for the game, but I do like the over in that one. All right, so those are the games, and that is the setup for the weekend. And you can catch in-game live all of our programming throughout the weekend. Pro Football Today, it's the last Saturday, Sunday edition of this, because come next weekend, we've got the AFC and NFC Championship, and then on to the Super Bowl, naturally. If you want to download the SportsGrid app to learn more about our coverage this weekend, just take out your phone and scan this QR code. It's available for both iOS and Android. And by the way, what is the cost, you may ask? It's absolutely free. So just take out your phone, scan that QR code, SportsGrid app, stream our shows 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Coming up next, we play our game of buy or sell. You're watching Fantasy Sports Today on SportsGrid. We'll be right back.
they outlined for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Dable. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Does this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Nico Collins officially out, by the way, for the Houston Texans. For those of you who are watching the show live or overnight or Sunday, whenever you're watching it, Nico Collins, get him out of your lineups in daily fantasy. And if you're playing in any other format, he is out for this week. We're also going to get out of here. We got about 15 minutes to go. So George and I, it's time for us to play a little game of buy or sell. The best running back in the National Football League, could it be a rookie next season? Some people feel it may, George. Some people feel it may. I tend to agree. This guy is fantastic. Jeremiah Love, coming out from Notre Dame, will be the #1 dynasty pick if he is drafted by the Chiefs, George. I don't even know that he's going to get to the Chiefs. You going to buy or sell this? Jeremiah Love, who I can tell you now is going to be a first-round pick in fantasy. But our question is, will be the #1 dynasty pick if he's drafted by the Chiefs?
Absolutely. And forget the Chiefs part, by the way. It doesn't matter who he's drafted by. He's the #1 pick in Dynasty. It's not even close. Listen, I played Dynasty League for decades here. Running backs always go first, but there just aren't enough of them. All right, so we're always taking the top running back. I can't remember the last time a running back wasn't the #1 pick in Dynasty.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, he's going #1 to end. It doesn't matter. Chiefs, if it's the Giants, whatever, Jets, whoever it might be, he's going to be the #1 dynasty pick there. I've never had the #1 pick, so not a problem I have to worry about. Anyway.
Me either.
So, yeah, which is generally good, by the way. The Dynasty League, generally the #1 pick goes to the last place team.
Right.
Which is generally the way it works there. So I guess it's good not to be there. And so we'll see. But yeah, I think he's #1. It doesn't matter who. The Chiefs, you can take that part out. It doesn't matter who he's with. He's the #1
that's
guy.
what I was
and as
thinking
you said,
too.
He's not getting to the Chiefs, Greg.
I don't think so.
I know
don't
running
think
backs
so.
get devalued, and then it's not like you and I growing up where running backs are so important, but they seem to be growing again, right? Seem to be getting more and more important again.
A little bit.
So I think he's top 10. I'm going to go top 10.
Top 10 redraft, you're saying? Or top 10 overall in the NFL draft, right?
In the NFL. He could be a top
Yeah,
10
like
in the
Genti.
NFL, so he won't
Yeah, I watched him play in college. I thought Genti was fantastic in college. I did. But this guy is a different kind of fantastic. This guy, it doesn't matter what team he's on. You're not going to be complaining that they don't have a good offensive line. He'll be a superstar. I'm going to say buy, but I will tell you this. Trinidad Chambliss is going to go ahead of Fernando Mendoza in fantasy drafts. And Mendoza is going to be the #1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Chambliss of Mississippi to me, should be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. That's my opinion. This guy is going to be fantastic as a pro. But Mendoza probably maybe ends up winning the championship Monday night. He'll be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. But I got Chambliss. I got Love and Chambliss 1 and 2 in fantasy next year at Dynasty. All right, Mike Tomlin, no more. Not the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has said he's taking a year off. George brought up a good point, which I didn't even know, that the Steelers would get draft picks if Tomlin decides to coach next season. Buy or sell, Tomlin will be on a TV broadcast next season. I got an interesting answer for this. Go ahead.
I assume so. I think the question is not will he be, but where? What network? ESPN, Fox, CBS, whoever it might be, NBC. I guess he's not going to be on a Sunday night show. I assume he'll be in studio with somebody. Wouldn't Fox make some sense here? I don't think they've ever replaced Jimmy Johnson. I know they're more of an NFC show, but I think that might make some sense there, that he could go with Fox. Love to see him on ESPN. That would be interesting to get him, there maybe on the Monday night games there or the Sunday morning games there. But I think that would be interesting as well. But I don't see him coaching this year. I think he's going to take a year off and then see what he wants to do. And as I said before, you just said it again, he will need compensation, or Pittsburgh will need compensation. If a team wants him, they're going to pay through the nose. I believe Peyton went for a 1 and a 2 to get to Denver. I got to think Tomlin goes for at least that.
So I'm going to get cute with this answer. And I'm going to say, because the question is, Sam, Mike Tomlin will be on a TV broadcast next season. Yes, I'm going to get cute. I'm going to say sell. He is the perfect choice to stream on Amazon Prime in their pregame show next year. I'm sorry, I got to do it to you. Sam's laughing. He's all mad. He's laughing, but he's not laughing. I think some streaming option, George, comes up, scoops this guy up. Yes, and he's going to need to be the highest paid guy, right? Like that. Maybe Winston if he retires. But Mike Tomlin, to me, you put him with those guys on Amazon Prime. Their pregame show is fine. It's okay. It would be a lot better with him. And I think I just think that's where he's headed next season. So not on TV, streaming on Amazon Prime. That's my prediction for Mike Tomlin. So sell. The Giants have John Harbaugh, we think, as their next head coach. As we're doing this, it's not officially official, but we believe so. They've been brutal with all this talent that they supposedly have that Harbaugh's coming in. Buy or sell, the Giants will win 9 games next season. We got to put a qualifier here. And is it 9 or more here, Sam? Can we say okay? More 9 or more, I should say. I think.
Wow, Sam being a little ornery today, right? Wow.
No, if they win 10, they win 10. George, rule. What do you rule?
He's right. Okay.
Sam's right.
I take that back because I'm going to take this back because I think the question will win 9 games. You're actually asking 9 on the number.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Technically, by lawyer, Craig is right. All right.
Thank you.
I think you all know what Sam meant here by the question.
I don't know what he meant.
In a court of law, Sam would be ruled correctly here. Craig would be ruled correctly. Giants 9 or more next year. Division. I think they can win half the division. You're playing the AFC South. That's the Colts and company there. Yeah, they're playing the West too. I'm going to say no. I'm going to sell this. No, they're not going to win 9. It'll be close though. They're much more than this year.
I'm going to sell. I'm going to sell this. There's no way. 5 wins, 6 wins. Buy or sell, there will be a season-long work stoppage in Major League Baseball. Does this include the postseason, Sam? I have to put a qualifier. How about does this include spring training season?
I'm going to sell this. It's going to be a long one. Over under, I'll say is July 4th. How about that? And I probably
no way. Less than that. They'll work it out.
Wow. You're the optimist here. No. I'm going to say definitely not. I think July 4th being
definitely
kind.
Sell. I'm trying to keep my job. I'm with these networks here. You're going to make me say buy? You nuts? Come on. Even if I believe that, I'd lie to you all. Sell.
they outlined for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Dable. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Is this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Got the SportsGrid 60 coming up. Before we do this just drives my point home. Or does it? I don't know. Maybe it makes me look bad here. Most receiving yards per game in NFL history is that guy, Puka Nacua. Would you believe that? Regular season, 95.3. Postseason, 108.3. George, I was trying to make the point earlier. You were definitely making a better point than me. There is no excuse for this guy catching a dozen balls and 180 yards this week. I don't care. Let Parkinson and Higbee and Devontae and find Tutu Atwell again. Throw him in there. Just don't let this guy beat you. The Rams will not win without this guy. But he must just be that good. He must be a Hall of Famer, George. I can't figure it out.
Obviously, it's easier said than done because it's something I totally agree with. I mean, Bill Belichick used to coach this way, right? I'm going to take away the other team's best player. All right, and if they're going to beat me, it's going to be with secondary players. And Nacua is their best player. So if they're going to beat me, it's not going to be
easily
Nacua. I'm going to double him. I'm going to bracket him. I'm going to, do everything I can possibly do to eliminate him. You're not going to stop him. I understand that. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I understand they got Devontae Adams there too, and he's very good. But you know what? Nacua was putting up these numbers. Well, Adams was out too.
That's right.
Yes.
Like
I said, I understand it's easier said than done. I do. But it is mind-boggling here. This always, bothered me with Joe Torre and the Yankees back in the day here, where he'd always let David Ortiz and Manny Ramirez beat you. Can we walk these guys and let someone else beat you, please? Not let the Hall of Famers do it. So same scenario here. Anybody but Nacua.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like if Parkinson has 8 catches for 120, 2 touchdowns, and they win, okay, okay, fine. But my guess is this guy is just going to blow up again this week. All right, we got to wrap up our show here for this round of the NFL playoffs. But before we do so, we got a couple of minutes left, and we end it with the SportsGrid 60.
All right, so many things that I probably could complain about during this thing. We already mentioned the baseball here, what's going on there, and everybody hates the Dodgers because they got Tucker. I already complained about the Mets and what I don't understand their off season here. Could go on about the Yankees as well here, but we'll stick with the NFL here. Everyone's been complaining this week. Well, not everyone, but some teams are complaining about the scheduling. All right, and I understand that. All right, the San Francisco 49ers, they had to go out to Philadelphia last week. Now they got to go back to the West Coast. They're playing on a short week again. Is it fair? No. Same thing with Buffalo, by the way. They get complained as well. Like I said, is it fair? No. But if you think the NFL cares about fairness, are you kidding me? The NFL cares about making money. That's all they care about. A fair scheduling? I think the way they work is these networks get like a draft. Last week, ESPN was sort of first in the draft. What games did you like? This week it seems to be NBC, or maybe it's Fox. They get to choose their games yet. I think that's just how it works here. And the NFL doesn't care about fairness. Right? They don't care about what the fans like. You think fans are going to be thrilled how they go to Chicago when it's 6 degrees on a night game? I mean, you all knew this was going to be that way. How about giving them a day game? These got a couple of degrees warmer here, but the NFL doesn't care. They never have. The regular season's even worse with the bye weeks and how they do that. You got to play on a short week. Teams coming off a rest will still get to play against the team coming off a bye week. It happens over and over again. NFL only cares about one thing. It's not fairness. It's not competitive balance. It's making money.
Speaking of money, it's one of the highest tickets on record for a national championship game. Monday night, in my backyard and here in South Florida, the University of Miami Hurricanes will take on Indiana University. And the speculation is that Indiana's fans who have never experienced a national championship are going to fill up Hard Rock Stadium, and with more fans than the University of Miami. If this is indeed the case, everything that is being said or has been said about our fans here in South Florida will become true. Because what we have known through the years is that South Florida fans are kind of fickle. Sometimes they just don't show up. But what we have known in the past, that any time their team has been playing for a championship, especially when the games are at home, they go. This is the scenario on Monday night. Miami is playing in their home stadium for a national championship. So while some people are projecting 60-40, 70-30 in favor of Indiana, I'm going to go the other way. I think all of South Florida is going to be at this game Monday night because, as I've said in the past, whether it's the Marlins, the Dolphins, the Heat, the Panthers, anything, we show up for the big games. We may not show up for anything else. So Monday night, there's no excuses. Hurricanes 7.5 or 8-point underdogs. I think they should win this game outright. That's just my opinion. Going into Monday night, I think they're going to have the home field advantage going into college football's championship game, and they better. That'll do it for the show today. Thanks again to my co-host George Kurtz, for our producer Sam. I hope you enjoy all of the football this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. We'll see you back here for our next edition of Fantasy Sports Today next week. Have a great weekend, everyone. See you then.
Line for Koepka are fantastic. I think it's perfect. It is punitive, but it's fair. You've got to levy some sort of fine, so to speak, for defecting, and I think they've done a wonderful job of being equitable and punishing him a bit at the same time. I think Brooks ultimately wants to be playing with the best.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
New York Giants. They fired their head coach, Brian Daboll. Now, they did that during the season. Harbaugh is the favorite by a wide margin. Looking at Kalshi right now, Joe, 56% chance. 56 that he's the coach. The guy behind him is Kevin Stefanski at 25%. Does this look like it's just a Harbaugh spot? And if not, why is Harbaugh waiting until Monday? Does he want to see if something else opens up? But it looks like he's the heavy favorite and probably will get the job.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Memphis is shopping John Morant. Yeah, no kidding. They should have shopped him 2 years ago and got rid of him. The problem is, where does he go? Like, what team is going to sit there and deal with a dude who, A, has not been healthy or reliable both on the court or off the court? Like, who's trading for John Morant here, Coach?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.